Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. We're here with analysis of Israel's war on Gaza, which sadly has reached day 173. We've reached day 173 of a full-out onslaught of the Gaza Strip, which began right after October 7th, which was the day that Hamas launched an attack on Israel that resulted in the death of 1,139 people in Israel, as well as the capture of numerous Israeli civilians and military folk and foreign nationals. But since then, since that attack, we have seen a devastating and disproportionate response. As of the present moment, as of this exact moment, 32,490 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza since October 7th. 74,889 Palestinians have been injured, wounded in Israel. Those numbers do not include the more than 8,000 people who continue to lay under the rubble, assuredly dead. It doesn't include the extraordinary number of people who have been wounded or injured who haven't been registered with the Gaza Health Ministry. So those numbers are actually sadly lower than the true numbers. But all that notwithstanding, we are in the midst of a full-out onslaught, a full-fledged genocide in the Gaza Strip, which is why every single day we cover the war on Gaza, not the war in Gaza, not the war against Palestinians, not the war against Hamas, but the war on Gaza. And that's what we're covering today, with all the information that mainstream media doesn't want you to have, all the analysis, all the details that corporate media doesn't want to give. And we're going to give it to you anyway. The first thing that we want to talk about right now is the fact that Israel is ramping up. Right now, at this moment, based on all reports, including Israel's own admitted reports, the Israeli government, the Israeli military is ramping up its military attacks. Over the last couple of hours, according to Al Jazeera's Tariq Abu Azum, over the past couple of hours, we have been recording multiple airstrikes that targeted 3 residential houses. That's what Tariq over at Al Jazeera said, that 3 residential houses have been targeted. One of the primary places, the most specific and intense place of these types of strikes is the city of Rafah. As you know, Rafah is a city in the south of Gaza. It is a site of extraordinary violence right now. It's a place where most Palestinians at this point in Gaza have gone to. The city is designed to hold 250,000 people, and it currently holds 1.5 million people. There are only 2.2 million in the entire Gaza Strip, and 1.5 million of them are in Rafah. And Israel is intensifying rather than mitigating or limiting or reducing even the attacks in the region. The Jabalia refugee camp is another space where we have seen these types of attacks. Al Jazeera's Hani Mahmoud said something that was incredibly interesting and chilling. He said, not only have there been intense attacks across Rafah city, but there's also the constant buzzing of drones taking a mental toll on people and making it hard to sleep. This is an important point. It's not just the violence of war. It's not just the direct violence of war. It is the fact that there is a constant threat. You talk about terrorism, the constant threat of violence, the constant threat of the state eliminating you and your family, the drones buzzing. You don't know if it's a surveillance drone or a predatory drone. Predator drone, excuse me. This is a crisis, and it's one that's not getting any better because there are no safe spaces. One example of that is Al-Shifa Hospital. Al-Shifa Hospital has been the site of an Israeli military siege forever, it seems like. On Wednesday, Israeli military stated that its forces are continuing to siege Al-Shifa Hospital. They've killed a number of fighters. But as they say that they are killing Israeli fighters, the question is, who are they really killing? How many are actual Hamas members? How many of them are actual militants? And how many of them are simply young male Gazans who they are designating as military targets? This is part of the question. This is part of the problem. And it's not getting better. There has been some breaking footage, and it's exclusive to Al Jazeera, and I'm getting the information from Al Jazeera. There's a video that has been released that shows unarmed Palestinian men. One was literally waving a white fabric cloth. Understand, in international law and rules of war, if someone is waving a white flag, that's not just the cartoons, it's just not the movies, it's not just the old war flicks. If someone is waving a white flag, that is a universally accepted sign of surrender. You cannot kill somebody under these circumstances. But listen to what happened. You got unarmed Palestinian men, one of whom was repeatedly waving a white fabric cloth. It didn't matter because Israeli troops shot them dead and then buried their bodies with a bulldozer near Gaza City. Now, of course, Hamas spoke out against this. They condemned the killings of the two armed men and said that this was, quote, further evidence of the scale of fascism and criminality that governs Zionist behavior. In addition to that brutal and indefensible act, we also saw that at least 9 people were killed in 2 separate Israeli strikes in the south of Lebanon as the fighting continues to escalate in terms of their battle with Hezbollah. So when this is the backdrop, more residential strikes, more hospital strikes, more strikes of unarmed people, there's no reason to believe that the ceasefire that was demanded by the UN Security Council, by the non-permanent states, there's no reason to believe that any of that is true. They may mean it when they ask for it, but the idea that Israel is going to honor it is absurd. And Israel doesn't pretend. Israel's not lying here, to be clear. Israel is saying, we don't care what the US does. We don't care what the UN Security Council says. We're going to defy those relationships. We're going to deny and defy those laws, those demands, those commitments, those agreements, because Israeli security is more important than that. We're not going to let ourselves die, is their official line. We're not going to let ourselves die to appeal to laws that aren't moral or principled. And Netanyahu used that specific language against the United States yesterday when he said that they are retreating from the principled position. Problem is that narrative that Hezbollah that gets advanced, I'm not sure they even believe it at this point. To some extent, I think they do. I think I'm talking about the government, not individual Israelis or diasporic Jews. I'm talking about the government. Because there's a way that Netanyahu at this point seems to just be holding on to power. He knows that he's a wartime president or prime minister. He's a wartime prime minister. And people aren't going to push as hard for a regime change if they're at war. So it's in his interest to be permanently at war. Now, what we see is even in the state of war, people are calling on Israelis at the Israeli center and Israeli left. They're saying, look, enough with Netanyahu. We need somebody else here. But still, what do you think that would be if there were no war? Think about how powerful the demands were pre-October 7th in Israel, where people were marching to Netanyahu's house. They're marching through the streets of Tel Aviv. They're protesting in international circles, saying that Netanyahu must go. And now they're kind of like, yeah, we want him to go, but we also want to win this war. We need somebody with a steady hand. He knows that because once he's no longer a wartime prime minister, he may be a jail time ex-prime minister. Anyway, lots of stuff going on. But at the end of the day, everybody from the U.S. State Department to human rights organizations to the United Nations have all very much said that this is too far, whether it's U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin speaking to his counterpart in Israel, Defense Minister Gallant, and saying, look, the death toll is too high and the humanitarian aid reaching Palestinians is too low. That's a gentle way to put it. But then you got Francesca Albanese, who's the UN Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territory, who said that what Israel's doing constitutes, quote, prima facie evidence of an intention to systematically destroy the Palestinians as a group. In other words, she's saying genocide. This is what's going on. This is what people are struggling with as a global community, and this is what we have to respond to. That's going to be the Israel report for today. That's going to be the Palestine report for today. The war on Gaza, Israel's war on Gaza. We want to break all that down for you. In the meantime, no family, make sure you keep watching the channel. Much more coming up, including office hours soon, which will be live Q&A. Make sure you come back for that. In the meantime, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you're so inclined, if you haven't already, hit the join button. And we appreciate the donations. Levi Aitken, thank you so much. Everybody else out there that supports the channel on a regular basis, we are grateful. We ask right now that you hit the like button. We ask right now that you hit the subscribe button. And if you're so inclined, please hit the join button and become a monthly member of the channel. It makes things better. But if you want to just make a one-time donation, you can go right to Cash App. Go to Cash App and type MLHTV. That's Cash App MLHTV, and you can make it whatever donation you want. But based on the number of people who are on live right now, if everybody online just gave $2, if every single one of you gave $2, we would meet our goals for the day to pay the bills, to continue to be able to put out work like this. So if you got it, we would love for everybody to donate $2 on the Cash App. If you don't got it, that's okay. Keep watching, keep learning, keep building. We're going to do this every single night. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.